So many writers would benefit from using Italian job structure instead of ocean structure when writing protagonists who are carrying out schemes, especially first-person protagonists. Harry Dresden, Daniel Faust, I'm looking at you. If you're unaware of what these two are, I'll give a breakdown. Also, while the terms are based around capers, this can work with any story which involves a protagonist that has a plan. Anyway, I'm certain you've seen ocean structure before. The audience gets some part of the plan or info they're working with, but not everything. Things often appear to be going wrong until this big reveal that everything was a misdirect, which leads to the opposition's defeat. The Ocean films are obviously an example of this, though I can name many takes of this beyond the films. Some cases of this work for me, some don't. The ones which fail often do because the concept of ocean structure conflicts with how the story is being told. This brings us to Exhibit A, the Dresden Files. I love the Dresden Files, but I can't turn a blind eye to how often it does something that first-person narrators shouldn't. As the series has gone on, for the sake of the plan's reveal, information is withheld from the audience. Orson Scott Card tackles why you shouldn't do this in Characters and Viewpoint. It creates distance between the narrator and the audience by decreasing investment in the immediate events and trust in the narrator. The narrator becomes the audience's enemy in the quest for truth and not their ally. The Dresden Files engages in the worst version of this in the 15th book, Skin Game. In it, Harry Dresden does something between chapter 4 and 5 which does not get revealed until chapter 44. Not only is this cheating, a first-person narrator can only withhold info so long as they tell us what they knew at that point in time. It also handicaps the story. A story isn't just the plot, the events. A story is about how the plot affects the protagonist. Ocean structure interferes with this because maintaining the secret means denying the audience the specifics. This straitjackets the story and strips the characters of credibility because they can't do anything that would give away the secret. They can't think about it or react to anything the way they would because it would give everything away. The reveal, ironically, obscures the story. None of this is a problem with Italian job structure. With it, the audience is told everything during the planning, no misdirecting the audience, and the conflict comes from the struggle experienced from carrying out the plan. Mistakes often happen along the way, and we instead watch how those executing the plan adapt to the circumstances. Speaking from personal experience, the handling of my caper novel improved when I embraced Italian job structure. One criticism I heard early on was that my protagonist felt cold and robotic. This happened because I couldn't reveal her internal reactions and calculations because it would spoil later reveals. I had it so issues were happening, but she either maintained her composure or was acting. Withholding that info robbed the story of what is now one of the hooks, Cassidy's observations and calculations. For my final argument for this, we go to Mistborn, the Final Empire. I'm going to go into spoiler territory with this, so if you don't wish to hear spoilers, skip to the next part. In Mistborn, the Final Empire, the crew's leader Kelsier dies, but his death at the hands of the Big Bad was part of his plan. He arranged things so that his downfall would benefit the crew, laying the foundation for the victory. He does have the POV at times, which Brandon Sanderson mentions not spoiling the reveal meant having to avoid having Kelsier think about this, the very straitjacking issue I mentioned. An Italian job structure take on this would focus more on suspense, on Kelsier's desire to live, his exploration of other options, how he feels as he grows closer to others like Vin while knowing he'll die soon. It would become a story about his mortality and legacy, which, thematically speaking, fits with everything which follows. Of course, it's still a great story. I'm simply pointing this out to illustrate how this structure can create a compelling narrative. Now, having said all this, I wouldn't ever wish to do away with ocean structure. One of my biggest influences, Liar Game, works well with it in the earlier arcs. I simply recommend questioning what a reveal provides the story. After all the techniques we gain and possess are tools. We need to match the right tool to the right problem or project we have before us. And as a tool, there are many occasions where Italian job structure, despite being the less popular of the two, surpasses ocean structure when presenting a plan. If you do wish to expand your toolbox as an author, I can lend a hand. I have videos of all sorts which explore topics related to being an author. Given all my talk about planning in this, another question I think worth asking yourself is this: should you outline your story, or should you discovery write? Click the video on the screen if you want to find out.